All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition. Why do I want to keep saying that it's Friday?
Yeah, I know. Hey,
Jeez.
that's the energy we need, though.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every single day by Go Chevrolet. We got a packed house here on this Tuesday edition. A couple of new interns from Chad Sabady's class, MassCom. Also Noah Tingle, who's not here. Nick Ashton's here. Katie's here. Mikey's here. Lloyd's here. We got a jam-packed show. David Simoneaux, who's the new head coach of the Catholic High Bears, is going to stop by at the end of hour one. Hunt Palmer of the LSU Sports Radio Network is going to stop by at 7:30 this morning. Really looking forward to talking to Hunt, as what a cool weekend he had calling the LSU baseball game, celebrating his honeymoon. So we will have a cool conversation with Hunt coming up here at 7:30 this morning. We will also talk to Ross Dellenger in the 8 o'clock hour, as Dellenger will be here discussing what is going on with the Les Miles situation up in Kansas, also college football with some sports and some spring football right around the corner. LSU Baseball plays tonight. Frank Wilson will be here at 8 o'clock this morning, so there is a ton to get to. Remember, every single day we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Our coffee is presented by Majestic Coffee. You can find Majestic Coffee all over social media. We will answer your questions coming up here at 8:15. If you got a question for the Jordy Culotta Show, drop the hashtag AskTheJC Ask the Jordy Culotta Show, and we will get it answered coming up here in the 8 o'clock hour. Go Chevrolet drives us every single day. Remember, stop in and see them in LaPlace, Louisiana. They are conveniently located right off of I-10. You want to stop in and see Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the entire crew over there. Stop in over at Go Chevrolet and tell them hello here on this Tuesday morning. A beautiful Tuesday morning again for you as you wake up early with us here on this Tuesday. The story that is dominating the news cycle obviously is Les Miles in Kansas, and this is something that we talked a little bit about yesterday. We talked about it a lot when this story was happening and starting to break. But I don't think that this is a very big surprise to a lot of people. You know, we said initially when this story came out that it would be surprising to see Les be able to make it through this story, and here we are, just about 72 hours after the story broke at LSU over the weekend. Les Miles is out at Kansas as the head football coach after he was placed on administrative leave amid accusations of inappropriate behavior towards female students during his time at LSU. Kansas's AD Jeff Long on Friday said the university would be conducting a full review to determine the appropriate steps on Miles' future, and then late Monday evening announced that they had mutually agreed to part ways. I'm extremely disappointed for our university fans and everyone involved with our football program. Long said in a statement, there's a lot of young talent on this team, and I have no doubt they will identify that we will identify the right individual to lead this program. Miles said on Monday, "This is certainly a difficult day for me and for my family. I love the university and the young men in our football program. I have truly enjoyed being the head coach at KU, and now that is in a better place now than when I arrived. To our student athletes, I want you to remember that you came to play for KU and earn a degree." He implores them to stay and build and do all things that they talked about doing together. Miles, who is 67 years old, was 3-18 in his 2 seasons at Kansas, including an 0-9 record in 2020. The Jayhawks' only Big 12 win in the 2 seasons for Miles and Lawrence came in 2019 versus Texas Tech. Kansas hasn't won more than 3 games in a season since 2009. It's widely considered Kansas probably the worst D1 job in college football.
I mean, it's hard to argue with what the stat you just put out there. I mean, better than where I found it, though.
It's the consistency. Right. It's the consistency with which they lose.
They have been losing at an incredible rate.
Rapid rate.
Since 2009. But as Miles said, the program is in a much different place than when he took it over. Yeah? How?
Yeah.
Les?
The interns he brought in.
Are you worse? Right.
Staff looks a little different.
This is Les Miles. This is the last time you'll hear from him in college football. This is the last time that he will be aligned with a football program. Miles, in my opinion, missed a great opportunity directly after his time at LSU where he could have turned into the next Lee Corso on ESPN. He should have just embraced that rather than putting the headgear on or the mascot on. He could have just put the hat on, looked in the camera with that goofy smile and gave the wink and the nod and the gun and gotten out of there. But now, and not to say that this would not have come out, at some point. But Miles he's done. He's cooked.
How easy was that conversation?
What?
With Jeff Long? Like, this is over, right?
Well, I mean, is Jeff Long next?
Yeah, that's the next conversation.
I mean,
if he's going to throw him under the bus.
Have you seen what F. King Alexander is doing out in Oregon State? I mean, you talking about CYA.
Yeah.
You talking about covering your ass. I mean, like he's going, I wish we would have done more. I bet you do. I bet you do now.
This wasn't on my calendar, but now it is.
Right? I mean, like it was to read the reports and see the people. I mean, there's 2 or 3 pages of redacted reports that you can't even read on top of the stuff that you know. So, I mean, it was a culture and it was an athletic department that had a lack of procedure put in place, a lack of protocol put in place. It's all coming out now, but I would imagine that Jeff Long is next. I would imagine that F. King Alexander is going to have to answer a lot of questions from his board of directors at Oregon State. And then I still think that there's some people at LSU that are going to have to ask some questions and deal with some fallout, especially when you see what's happening with the students on campus, that they're not going to allow the athletic department or the football program to forget or to really move on from this report without at least a little bit of pushback. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing continues to kind of unfold as not necessarily the stories grow, because I think we've learned just about all the information that you can find out, but whether or not people are going to move on. I mean, it's with the student body paying attention to it like they are. I mean, you had students laying down in the football operations facility parking lot yesterday, not allowing football players in and out. It's something that I'm curious to see how it continues to gain legs. We'll talk to Hunt about just kind of his reaction to it, because Hunt, a lot like a lot of us, was around the football program during that time and was covering what was happening. And like I said on Friday, and like I will continually say, nobody, none of my peers, nobody that was around the program and covering it, and we'll talk to Ross Dellenger coming up at 8:30 this morning. Nobody had more access to Dellenger, than nobody had access to the LSU football program like Dellenger did on the beat at that time, and nobody suspected that there was harassment, that there was any type of anything illegal going on with what Miles was doing. Everybody was very aware that he was a hound and he was constantly chasing it, but nobody knew what to degree that it was happening. And it looked like that it was an absolute culture. I mean, it was something that was happening every single day, and even causing people like Sharon Mangum, Sharon Lewis to have almost nervous breakdowns. So we'll talk to Ross Dellenger about the story with Les Miles out at Kansas. We'll also get his reaction to some of the stuff that's happening around spring football going into the next couple of days. LSU will start spring football on March 15th. Big story in the NFL, and we didn't talk about this yesterday, but the New Orleans Saints started to shift around some of their contracts to start to make room for what's happening with what's going on with New Orleans and the cap. One story that we didn't talk about that was going into the weekend was that the Saints released Thomas Morstead, an absolute rock-solid figure of the New Orleans Saints. Now with Breeze and Morstead out, you are without any players from the 2009 Super Bowl championship winning team. Those were the two last standing championship winners with the Saints, and Morstead got the news on Friday that he was
on a PJ with Will Lutz on the way to his bachelor party.
Yes,
my buddy was with him, and he was like, "Well, Morstead's about to have a day."
Yeah, you could see it.
Turn it
I
up.
mean, he was tweeting from the private jet.
Yeah,
I mean, like saying, "I'm with Big Nuts Lutz, and it's about to go down." Like,
yeah.
All right,
about
man,
to crank this thing to 11.
I'd like to be wingman in Morstead. But some more news: New Orleans restructured the contracts of linebackers Demario Davis and defensive end Cameron Jordan. They created about $13.5 million of cap room, that according to the NFL Network. The first of the all-season renegotiations was Drew Brees' contract that shaved off just about $24 million from the 2021 hit. In the past week, the Saints restructured contracts for David Onyemata, Will Lutz. They released tight ends Jared Cook, Josh Hill. They also released Thomas Morstead, as we said. More movement is inevitable for New Orleans, which is about $49 million, $50 million above the cap of the $180 million floor, as New Orleans still tries to make room there. And the other big news in the NFL yesterday was that Dak Prescott got paid. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott and Jerry Jones have agreed to a 4-year, $160 million contract, including $126 million of that guaranteed. A source told ESPN's Adam Schefter it's the largest signing bonus in NFL history, as Dak's contract yesterday came with a $66 million kiss.
Wish I still had that cowbell.
How about that, man? Russell Wilson with his contract 2 years ago had a $65 million signing bonus. Dak Prescott gets $1 million more from the Cowboys, as that is the highest deal. The $75 million is due in year one. The first 3 years of the deal averaged $42 million per for Dak and the boys. So it has the patience has paid off for Dak Prescott, even though it has not been a truly successful team time for the Dallas Cowboys with Dak under center. It has been a very much an individual successful time for Dak, as he is the second quarterback to reach 100 passing yards and 25 rush touchdowns in his first 5 seasons. 100 passing touchdowns and 25 rushing touchdowns in his first 5 seasons in the NFL. So he is a little bit different in the way that he plays that position, and he gets paid and gets the money. Yesterday, I don't know. I was kind of always on the other side of the argument here when talking about Dak and his long-term viability in Dallas and the money that he was demanding. Good for him on getting it. But when you look at his individual, capability, you really realize that, I mean, he's kind of in a class with Russell Wilson. He's kind of Russell Wilson to me 2.0. He's not what Russell Wilson does. But he has the same similar type of skill set to keep plays alive. He can run it, he can throw it. A lot of people will debate on this contract.
Well, the injury.
Yeah, but I think the injury you can come back from pretty clearly. I mean, it was a clean break of his ankle. You know, I mean,
are you sure it wasn't a cramp? It looked like he's cramping up. It looked like his foot's going the other way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was gruesome. But I fully believe that he is going to that he will recuperate and get back to full status for playing time for next season. And look, I think that it's going to be a debated contract, and I think that I see both sides of it. I was always on the side of not paying Dak and kind of putting him into the 12 through 18 range of
That's
quarterbacks.
where he sits to me.
Yeah, he does, but not, doesn't say
they don't
so.
Well, Dallas doesn't have an option. Are we going to go to Andy Dalton? You gotta they kind of put themselves behind the 8 ball there, and they had to pay Dak.
Yeah, no, I mean they definitely, the way that this thing was playing out, the Cowboys were losing. They were losing real estate by the day. I mean, they were losing the high ground by the day on this because, I mean, besides the football stuff, he's a great representative for you and your city, your franchise.
Throws his trash away.
Yeah, I mean, he's always seemed to represent Dallas in a first-class manner. I mean, that goes a long way with that position, with that contract, with that status. And I think, with what Dak is bringing Dallas each year, I mean, he gives you a chance to compete. I don't necessarily believe that he is this upper echelon elite quarterback, but I think that he can break through if you give him talent around him. And Dallas last season, the last couple of years, has just not been able to kind of put it all together. I mean, they've had a top run game, they've had the best offensive line at times, they've had a playmaking wide receiver, they've had good quarterback play from Dak, but they've yet to kind of put that all together, whether it be in one season and try to accomplish the Super Bowl. I mean, they just haven't been able to put that together. But Dak gets paid $66 million guaranteed for him in a contract that is $126 million guaranteed in a 4-year deal over $160 million. So that is the big story in the NFL. Les Miles out at Kansas, the big story in college football. Tiger baseball going to be back in action tonight at Alex Box Stadium as the Tigers will take on Texas Southern. That'll be a 6:30 first pitch for LSU. Javin Coleman will go again. The big lefty who's 1-0 after an 11 strikeout performance in his first 2 starts. Hunt Palmer will talk about that with us coming up here at 7:30 this morning. Then LSU basketball got the news yesterday that freshman shooting guard Cam Thomas was named SEC Newcomer of the Year by the SEC Sports Writers and USA Today. Thomas, along with sophomore Trendon Watford, were named to the first-team All-SEC squad. Surprising to see Watford there. Junior guard Javonte Smart was named to the second team. LSU shares the third best odds to win the SEC tournament with Florida and Tennessee at 5-1, according to Bet Online, as Alabama is the favorite in the SEC tournament that is set to tip off this week. That's some of your headlines and some of the stuff that's happening within the news. We've got a jam show here today. We'll talk to Frank Wilson about McNeese football. The Cowboys over the weekend lost a heartbreaker, 25-20 to Southeastern down in Hammond, as Cody Ogeron was able to throw for nearly 200 yards, but McNeese fell on the road to Southeastern on Saturday. We will talk to Coach Wilson coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning. Hunt Palmer was on the call for LSU baseball on Saturday, the game that LSU really took care of business versus Oral Roberts, as they blew Oral Roberts out in that Game 2 Landon Marceau's performance. Hunt Palmer was on the call for the network, and we've always said we thought that he would be great in that position, and he was fantastic. We'll talk to him about the opportunity to call that game for the network and kind of what is next for Hunt now that he's been able to show those chops and call baseball, and really that's a passion of his, and it sounded great. Him and Buzzy on the network on Saturday were fantastic. So we'll talk to Hunt then, and then Ross Dellenger coming up here at 8:30 this morning. We'll talk about some of the stuff with the fallout with Les Miles, what's next for Kansas football, and some of the storylines that he's watching going into spring football. Remember, every day here on the Jordy Culotta Show, we are brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Everything else has changed. Isn't it time technology has made buying and selling a house easier and a whole lot cheaper? Barrett Blondo is introducing Falaya. From virtual tours to push-button offers, Falaya is redefining how real estate is sold. For more information, visit Falaya.com or download the app today. Give them a download wherever your app store is, Apple, Android. Download Falaya, the app, Falaya. If you're looking to sell your house this spring, you're thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out Falaya. Listing plans start at $399. You can sell your house by yourself, save thousands with Falaya. For more information, visit online, Falaya.com, or download the app at Falaya today. All right, we'll talk to Hunt Palmer next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as the Tigers are slated to take on Texas Southern tonight in baseball. We'll get Hunt's thought on LSU basketball as the Tigers gear up for the SEC tournament. Remember, if you have a question for the Jordy Culotta Show, jump inside of the bunker and just drop the hashtag Ask the JC Show, Ask the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll get him asked here at 8:15 this morning. Hunt Palmer next here on the JC Show, driven every day by Go Chevrolet. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as we are presented every day by Go Chevrolet. I was feeling a little shady in the first 25 minutes. I got to be honest. I was fighting through, bro. I was fighting through. I think I broke through to the other side.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Not another repeat of that.
No, it won't be. We got a lot of people in the room this morning.
Maybe that's what it is, like a party.
Yep. We got Hallie and Emma, a couple of our new interns here from old Sab's class, will be helping us out with some social media. As also our guy Noah Tingle will be helping us out as well. Three good additions to the Jordy Culotta Show as we try to just get 1% better each and every day. Remember, online, jordyculottashow.com is where you can watch, keep up with everything. In fact, if you want to just listen to the audio, you can close it out, listen to it in your phone, as it will work minimized. It'll work behind the scenes as you work on your PC, your phone, or however you were listening to us. Shout out to Whitney Bro, who was in the bunker this morning. Incredible debut yesterday for the Gridiron Show. Great conversation with Miss Karen McCord, Abby, and Whitney did a fantastic job of launching the Gridiron Show. Make sure you're keeping up with them on social media, making sure they're keeping up with their YouTube channel over at the Gridiron Show, as they'll be with us every Monday, bringing great conversations and good insight to what's happening over at the Gridiron Show. All right, Hunt Palmer, congratulations, bro. I don't know where to start. Congratulations on the marriage. Congratulations on the what looked like a fantastic honeymoon to South Beach, and then you get home and get the assignment on what we believe over here at the Jordy Culotta Show should have been long time coming, and now that it's happened, you should definitely be an absolute option for Chris Blair if he's ever out and not able to call the LSU baseball games, because your call on Saturday for LSU versus Oral Roberts, that was very cool to listen to. That was very fun radio to listen to, because you could hear the passion and love that you had for the product coming through the speakers. Congratulations. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, Jordy. This is round 2 now, so I guess I need to figure some things out. Yes, the best part was getting married. That was the best part of the whole thing.
Learning already, Hunt.
That's right. That's right. We definitely want to cut that cake for a third time, Hunt, for God's sakes.
It's expensive dessert, dude.
I mean, good Lord. But no, congratulations to you and your beautiful bride. South Beach looked fantastic. Now take me to the professional aspect, man, to Saturday in the box. I'd imagine that is a call that you have been wanting since you've been a kid.
I mean, that's true. I tweeted about it a little bit on Saturday when I got home, because I was a little bit, overwhelmed by the amount of support and kind words people offered. I mean, the internet's not the nicest place in the world, but that's on message boards.
You don't say,
on Twitter. I got almost 100% positive feedback, which never happens in anything I do. So I was thrilled by that. But I mean, I love doing the pre and post game show for football.
Sure.
I love covering the teams, and I enjoyed what I've done, here with you, and what I do on radio and all that kind of stuff. But I grew up listening to LSU baseball on the floor of my bedroom, because there was no SEC network, and there was no, we were never on TV. Every once in a while, Rance would get them on the Jumbo Sports Network on Sundays, and that was just a huge thrill for me to be able to watch them. But I never got to come to game. I listened to LSU baseball growing up, and it's just a huge part of my childhood, and always dreamt about doing that. And it's why you sit there while you're playing video games and you're 8 years old, and you do the broadcast of King Griffey Jr. baseball and all that kind of stuff. So I told Blair when he asked me to do it, I said, no, I've never done play-by-play. Actually, I've done it thousands of times in my living room, but not ever. But that was a dream come true for me, for real. And I put it on Twitter. I said, look, it's a job. It's supposed to be like, oh, I'm a professional. I'll just go do the job it's been asked of me. But to me, it's not. It was just a dream come true, and I just enjoyed the hell out of it.
Hunt Palmer joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You sounded fantastic, bro. I mean, it really, I'm not somebody that loves you and a friend of yours and been knowing you for a while and been urging that position. I mean, it was just a great call. I mean, it was easy to listen to. You painted the picture. You and Buzzy had good chemistry working together.
Very natural.
It was very natural. It was very, very natural in that position, and that is probably the hardest thing to do in a first time in something like that, is just to sound natural and sound comfortable. And it very much was easy on the ears of the listener. What did you see? What was, you saw the best game of the weekend, where LSU won versus Oral Roberts, and that was the call that you were on. They ended up dropping 2 of 3 over the weekend. The first one in record-setting fashion, where they just got blown out, and the third one where they had the lead into the 8th and just collapsed at the end. What happened?
Well, it's it's a collection of things over 3 days. Certainly the game I called, they played well. Marceau was brilliant. The freshman came in and threw strikes and got out there at the end, and they hit the ball hard enough at times and used a little help from Oral Roberts. So that's a pitcher dropping a pop-up, the right fielder losing one in the sun, a couple of flares that helped you. But it was a tough day to hit. They scored 11 runs and got some big clutch 2-out hits. And so most of it was good on Saturday. Friday was ugly. I mean, Jaden Hill just couldn't throw a strike. And when you can't throw a strike, they're gonna tee off on you when you do, because you're usually in a 3-ball or hitter advantage counts, and they just tattooed them all over the place. And then you go to the bottom half of the bullpen, and you don't expect those guys to get a ton of outs. I wish Mikhail Hilliard was having a little more success, but right now he's kind of a one-trick guy with that breaking ball, and they're figuring it out. But it's just, he just played really bad on Friday, and that's one where it's going to happen from time to time. You don't want your ace to go out there and give up 8 runs, but I think your ace is pitching on Saturdays right now, and I felt that way since before the season started. So you got to get Jaden Hill back, got to get him going, see how he responds to a little bit of adversity for the first time in his LSU career. But it's one game. It happens again next week. We'll talk about it, but it's one game. And then Sunday's just disappointing on the offensive end. You're facing the number 3 pitcher for a bad baseball team, and you can't put anything together offensively. And Levis was dazzling, and he was fantastic, but he didn't do enough offensively. And I think, defense let you down there at the end when you couldn't complete a relay, and then you fired the ball over third base and allowed a guy to score. It's right now, to me, it's just a flawed baseball team. I don't see. I think that some of these home runs have been really fun early, but is this a really powerful lineup? I don't think so. Is it a very good defensive team? No. They got some really good starting pitchers, and they've got some talent that's young that's coming. But right now, it's a pretty flawed team. And as I look across the SEC, I think it's the middle of the road SEC team. That can change over the course of a season. And I mean, people around here criticize me for years for it. I'm not going to judge a baseball team based on the results of a game or a weekend or a week. It's a season. It's 56 games, and all you got to do is be playing your best at the end. You can make things easier on yourself by winning a lot throughout the season, and some of the great LSU teams of the past have done that. But things can change, and they've got some talent, enough talent to win some games. But right now, it's just a little bit underwhelming.
Where are the holes defensively? Where do you see them?
It's on the infield, and then the outfield defense was terrible on Friday, too. I mean, Dross can't run a ball down in center field. Now, he's not your everyday center fielder. That guy's hurt, but he could have made a play out there and didn't. And there's a ball that's hit to left field. Dugas can't. 5 runs scored on those 2 plays. Then on the infield, you got Drew Bianco is not an SEC shortstop. I mean, that's just, but he's the guy that Pulmonary trusts the most. And when I say that, it sounds like a shot at Drew Bianco. It's not. It's just an indictment a little bit on the personnel on the roster that he's the guy that you have to send out there. I think Thompson's done a pretty good job at third, and Arnold threw on the easiest play you'll ever see, threw it away on Saturday when I was on the call, but he's been okay at second. But they just don't have the days when they were putting Bregman and Jacoby Jones and Christian Ibarra out there. That's a great 1, 2, 3 around the horn. You got Josh Smith and Kramer and Cole Freeman. That's an elite defensive team on the infield. This is not that right now.
Hunt Palmer joining us here from the LSU Sports Radio Network. Jevin Coleman tonight, he's been pretty impressive. I know his ERA is bumped up after last week to 4.26. What do you anticipate tonight?
I'm not worried about that 4.26. Coleman's got the goods. He's got a 92-mile-an-hour fastball from the left side. His breaking ball's good. He's got some swagger. Of the 2 guys in the freshman class that I am impressed with the most, trust me, I like Garrett Edwards. I think he's gonna really help, and I think he may be a starter down the road. He may really help this team. But I like Ty Floyd and Javen Coleman out of this freshman class as guys who I think help this team out of the bullpen right now, and I think will be weekend starters before their time is up at LSU. Their stuff pops to me, and I think those are 2 of the higher rated guys in this class, and I'm excited to see how those guys continue to progress. They got a lot of stuff.
Any midweek guys that you're curious to see? I mean, I know that they've had a lot of options on this roster, whether it be defensively, offensively, and they haven't been able to get to these guys from a consistent standpoint. Is there anybody that you're looking to see more of outside of the pitching staff?
So in terms of the position players, I think for me, just getting Doty and Giacomo back, that will change things, because for this team to be really good and to compete at the top level of the SEC, to try to host a regional or be a top 8 seed, Cade Doty's going to have to be an all-SEC performer. So is Dylan Cruz. Those are the most talented bats that you've got, and they've got to be that. And then Giacomo has shown that he can create some things and certainly can help you on defense and center field. So I think they're settling on the guys that they want. I don't necessarily expect to see Maurice Hampton go out there and get 2 starts in the next week. I think he knows the guys that he wants to go to, and I wouldn't totally object to seeing Will Safford more, because I think that he showed some stuff in the fall in terms of handling the bat, but got to find a position for him. And Thompson's been pretty good over a third, so I think that they're pretty much settled on the guys that they want to see move forward. You just got to get Giacomo and Doty back.
How did you handle Saturday calling the game while LSU basketball was playing an enormous road game?
I'm not good enough on the play-by-play considering it's my first time to keep that open and watch that and call the game. If I've done some radio work in my day where I did have games up, whether that's the post game with the Cubs playoff game on, or sitting there on Government Street watching the Cubs game. I'm not good enough at play-by-play to do that. So if it was a commercial, I'd take a peek at the score and then get right back to my book to make sure I knew it was coming when they were going back. But I wasn't quite comfortable enough, so I kept the tabs on it in commercials, and then I didn't see the end of it, but did see that we had won the game, which was good. And that's a nice win for them. I was able to go back and watch it afterwards, but I couldn't do it at the same time I was trying to call the game.
Huge win for LSU, both mentally and just getting out there and executing that game. We talked to their head coach yesterday, Will Wade, and he talked about he's always emphasizing the 6-minute games, the game within the game, and the last 6 minutes is as good as they played all season long. What'd you take away from that road win?
Huge for the resume. We're trying to get off that 8-9 line. I guess we'll talk about the game first. Obviously, it was just a game where LSU got into the type of game they want to play. I mean, Missouri doesn't want to play an 86-80 game, but LSU got them into that game. And Missouri also wants to feed the post and go down there to Tillman, who's the best field goal percentage shooter in the conference. And they threw it in there, and LSU just doubled him hard. And he had to get rid of it, and they had to shoot a lot of threes because of that. They shot 30 of them, which is the most they've shot since December 12th, I believe. And they're a bad three-point shooting team, and they didn't shoot them very well. And then you add into that Tillman was in foul trouble and only played 24 minutes. I thought LSU, their style, won them that game because they got into a game that Missouri wasn't comfortable playing in. And then you mentioned the last 6 minutes. I'll just go to the last minute and a half where you got a couple of huge stops. Watford was able to go to work and hit that little floater we're so accustomed to that he's been missing over the last 3 weeks. And they made their 4 free throws down the stretch and got some stops and rebounds and salted it away. I thought they're very, very good. It's not a defensive clinic when Missouri, a team that struggles to shoot jump shots, scores 80. But LSU's offense took over. They only had 5 assists in the game, but they're good enough in isolation more often than not to score, and they did.
Cam Thomas named SEC Freshman Newcomer of the Year, along with first team All-SEC with Watford. Javonte Smart named to the second team. Accolades coming for this team heading into the tournament. How do you feel about this squad going into Nashville?
It's been such a roller coaster, and that's how I've kind of treated it because they've had such bad weeks. You just give one away to Texas Tech and then get the doors blown off you by Alabama. Then you come back and you play a really strong game and beat Mississippi State on the road, and then you come home and put it on Tennessee. And then you come back and you lose a game to Georgia. It's been such a roller coaster, and I don't think that I've used terms like turning the corner and picking up momentum, all that kind of stuff, because right now I don't know that this team has that in them. They're just a pretty good basketball team that's not elite, that's not going to put together 5 great games in a row, but they can certainly roll the ball out there and beat you on a certain day. And I think that's just what this team is. So the good news is that even if they go to Nashville and we'll say South Carolina beats them by 18 in the first game, I'm not worried about them hanging their heads and not showing up to play the next Thursday in the NCAA tournament because they have responded to bad losses exceptionally well. My hope is that they go and beat South Carolina and go beat Arkansas or Ole Miss and get to Sunday. They can't beat Alabama. I've been on this since I watched it the first time. That matchup is an absolute disaster for them, and if they get to that point on Sunday, they'll lose it by double digits. But I'm trying to get them off the 8-9 line as I look at the group of teams that they seem to be in competition with to get down to the 7 line or the 6 line. I think LSU's in pretty good shape. They need a little bit of help from Mississippi State and Louisiana Tech to stay in the top 75. Tech is in. Mississippi State's a little bit out. That would keep Tech in quad 2, and that would make the Mississippi State road win a quad 1 game. And if you could get Mississippi State to beat Kentucky on Thursday, that would really help. But I think LSU's in reasonable shape to get to the 7 line. They just got to take care of business on Friday.
How do you feel about Alabama in the postseason against teams? I'd imagine that they may not be as successful in the SEC tournament as they will be in the big tournament because teams have seen them in the SEC now a couple of times. But teams that have not matched up against Alabama, it's a different type of basketball, the way they spread the floor and the way they can shoot it. How do you feel about them in March, late March?
I think they're really good. I mean, they, a lot of people say you can't rely on jump shooting to win. I think the Warriors, kind of threw that in the trash can. Now, they don't have.
You can if you make them.
They've got a lot of guys that can shoot, and what they're really good at is defense, and that is something that no one really talks about. They have absolutely smothered LSU in both of those games. They've got length. They're veteran. I think Nate Oates is doing a really good job, but everybody needs to pump the brakes on this, building a powerhouse here. When you look at the makeup of this roster, everybody's leaving after this. So they may get Shackelford back, but everybody else is going to be gone. This is an opportunity for them to make a run, and I think they're really good. When you go 16-2 in this league, that's impressive. LSU did it a couple of years ago and ran into a buzzsaw in Michigan State who took out Zion a couple of days later. So, I think Alabama's good.
Hunt, the headshot that we're using for your phone call here during the graphic looks like via 2013-ish of you and I doing a football hit for Bayou Bengals Insider outside of the LSU football facility. What do you make of this Les Miles stuff?
It's just really disappointing. There's just no reason for that kind of stuff, and if it all comes out to be true, and I'm let everybody do their work, it's unacceptable. You can't act like that, and there's no excuse for it. So obviously, Les is a guy who built up a lot of goodwill in Baton Rouge for things that happened on the field, and the way he presented himself in front of a microphone, which was goofy most of the time, but endearing. But this is something that'll torpedo that legacy. Turns out that it is true, and right now it appears that way. So it's just disappointing and disgusting.
Spring football starts next week. What's your biggest storyline, or what's something that you're looking to get out of those 15 workouts?
Well, I'd like the coaching staff to be able to put their schemes in. I think LSU may have been hurt by some of that last year. Now, everybody else was doing the same thing, but LSU had a couple new coordinators in no spring practice. They're trying to put schemes in via Zoom. Well, I'd like to get on the field and do it. So, you got new passing game coordinators, offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, got to get out there and do it. I think the juiciest storyline is probably the quarterback position, but we're not learning anything about the quarterback position during the spring. We're not going to learn that until probably the end of fall practice. Those guys are going to go out there, they're going to compete. But I think that the most important thing is that the coaches are able to do their jobs, and it looks like we're turning a corner and can get that done.
You think all three of them are there at the end of the spring? Quarterbacks.
At the end of spring, I don't think all three of them are there at the start of fall camp.
Yeah. Do you know when possibly? I know that was a call that you got on Saturday. Is this something that could be regular for you? Do you know when you possibly could be calling LSU baseball again?
No, I mean, I'm certainly open to it, and Chris knows that. But there's a pecking order there. They've got a lot of people who've done a lot of great things over at LSU that they can grab that mic. But when people are busy and can't make it, he's got my number, and I'll answer that call pretty quick.
Great political answer right there. Give the man another chance. He was fantastic. Hunt Palmer, you were great at work on Saturday. Thank you for sharing a couple of minutes here with us this morning.
All right, Jordy. Thanks, man.
All right, man. See you. There he is, Hunt Palmer, checking in. We're brought to you by Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center. Elevate is dedicated to treating patients who are battling drug and alcohol addiction. Their goal is to guide you in your steps towards recovery and help you achieve and maintain sobriety. You can learn more about Elevate Treatment Center online at Elevate, it's ELEV, 8, treatment.com. So Elevate Treatment.com. It's right here in Baton Rouge, located off of Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right in the middle of our city. They are an outpatient facility, a substance abuse outpatient facility located right here in Baton Rouge, where their goal is to impact the Baton Rouge community with substance abuse awareness and counseling. Online, elevatetreatment.com. That's elevatetreatment.com. Let's catch up now with David Simoneaux, who is a Baton Rouge native, who has been a longtime high school football coach. If you want to put me up here,
good morning.
My man, how are you? We're live.
Hey,
Coach.
man.
We're live.
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm not as good as you. Congratulations, my friend. What a call. I can imagine as we are talking to David Simoneaux here, who is the newly named head football coach at Catholic High School. The last 7 seasons, has been down at Catholic High Point Capee building an incredible program, or just building on to what was an incredible program down there in New Roads, taking that program to the state championship in 2019 for the first time since the 70s, and has always been a great high school coach in our state. And I think publicly everybody found out the respect that you have within the coaching trade, because as J.P. Kelly said, the athletics director at Catholic High School, they received over 100 bids, over 100 resumes for the opening that Gabe Fertitta left behind to join the Louisville staff as the wide receivers coach after a 4-year run that was so successful with Catholic High School. And David Simoneaux was the name that Kelly, the Catholic High alum, staff, was able to choose out of those 100 applicants. And I can tell you just by knowing this guy that they got the right guy. I'm sorry for the long introduction. Good morning. It is good to talk to you. Congratulations.
Man, I appreciate it. Talking about the application process and everything. This was just a guy. There's been jobs that have presented themselves to us that
David, hold on 1 second. I want to make sure we're getting all of your audio. Are you on Bluetooth or on a speaker? You're coming through a little mumbled.
No. Can you hear me?
I got
you. Hear me now?
I got you, buddy. I got you. Go ahead.
I'm in a sheet metal building over here in New Road, so there's a chance there's some interference. I can step out if the kids.
No problem. You're great right now. Continue with your story, please.
Okay. Yeah, there's some jobs that presented themselves to us, and then some jobs, in the past that we thought that we wanted that, didn't come to fruition. And, I just believe that in God's time and He put us here. And, JP and Lisa Harvey are just such class acts, man. And the thing about Catholic High Baton Rouge is just, I look at it as an iron-willed institution that, wants to be excellent in everything they do. And the more I got in there and just saw the professionalism of the people that were in that place, and, how they wanted to be great, at everything they do, it was something that just, was a fit. And as me and JP got to talking, it went from being an interview type session to more of a head bobbing session in terms of, the excitement and the idea that so many of our values aligned. And, man, I just couldn't be more excited to go over there and start getting my hands dirty.
What is the reputation of Catholic High football within the coaching industry right now? Because it's always been considered within our state as one of the big jobs, one of the headline jobs. But right now, with the success that they are experiencing with winning on the field, and when you look at the future, I have had 2 college recruiters, 1 college head football coach tell me that Catholic High has the most talented underclassmen roster in the state of Louisiana. What is the reputation of that job within the coaching industry right now?
Well, certainly, they got to be coming off, 5 years of the most successful years in program history, so no pressure stepping in. I had kind of a rehab job over here, and, over there, it's, our goal is to honor the history and the legacy of all the men that have bled and sweated in that black and orange before, and hopefully scratch and claw our way to continue to elevate the program. But when you look at it, man, I just think that Gabe and Coach Weiner did such a great job of building a great system, and they got the stable is full of talent and kids that are, hungry. I got to see those guys work out yesterday, and I love what they're doing. You got Matt Bruce in there as the head strength coach,
yeah.
And Deuce Harrison in there assisting, and as a defensive coordinator. So, man, just so many good pieces of the puzzle in place, and those kids understand what it means to work and to go out and have a championship mindset. So, excited to go in there and dial some dials up and put a little WD-40 on things that may need a little bit of a greasing, but excited to put my stamp on it for sure.
18 years as a coach in our state. David Simoneaux, newly named head football coach at Catholic High School. You'll also be working with one of our guys, as you and I are both alumnus of Parkview Baptist, as you were on that 2001 state championship team with Coach Kenny Guillotte. Matt Shelton over there, and has been for the last couple of seasons, running the offensive line and doing a great job over there. What has it been like getting around the staff and the faces that you'll be working with? How's that process been like? I know it's been very, very new But what's been the opening introduction's been like?
Absolutely. I knew about the class and character of the staff over there, and know about the level of professionalism that it takes to work at Catholic. So yesterday was my first day to be able to actually meet eyeball to eyeball with most of those guys. Just laid out a short, quick idea, my vision for the program, and try to put some minds at ease in terms of, I'm not coming in there with a bulldozer I'm not arrogant enough to think that, what they've been doing over the past 4, 5, 6 years, is something that just needs to be completely revamped. And so, again, want to put my touch on things, and gonna make sure I don't walk in Coach Weiner's shadow too much, and Coach Fertitta's. I got to go in there and beat David Simoneaux, but had a great meeting with those guys. Matt Shelton is such a class act, man, and hilarious to boot. That guy. If you sit down with him for long, you're gonna be, a tear from crying so hard. But excited about working with those guys, man. A lot of first class men.
You got a lot of good people around you too. You talked about the lineage of Dale Weiner, who was there before Coach Fertitta, and Coach Fertitta and Coach Weiner won one together with Coach Gabe calling the plays for Dale on his last season. Coach Weiner comes from Catholic High Point Capee before he took the Catholic High job, and you always see him still around the program. What has he been like for a resource for you during this time? I know that Neil, his son, who's the head coach over at Dunham as well.
Yeah, it's great to have some of these guys' endorsements, and I got to talk to Coach Dale yesterday after I addressed the team, and I just said, Coach, listen, man, I'm gonna be wearing you out, so you let me know what the boundary is, and maybe we'll just have a signal for when I've asked too many questions or something. But look forward to learning from him. But not only him, you got legends on campus like Coach Boudreaux, Coach Tommy Prohaska.
Yeah.
These guys have won and been champions at a high level for a long time. And we may not play the same sport, but I just know that there's so many things that I can learn from those guys. On top of Coach Bass and Coach Casio. So. Man, excited to be rubbing elbows with some of the greats in the state.
Yeah, man, you're 37 years old. Coach Boudreaux might have more state championships than you got years being alive.
I think that's the truth.
David Simoneaux joining us here. You got so many talented guys on that roster. Yeah, I think everybody in the country will be coming after Shelton Sampson. Have you had an opportunity to kind of look at the roster, get an idea of what you're going to be able to coach here in spring in just a couple of weeks?
I'm doing a lot of Twitter research, and got added to the huddle roster yesterday afternoon about 6:00. So I spent most of last night, besides changing diapers and feeding my 4 youngins, spent most of the night last night returning text messages and kind of thanking everybody for the outpouring of love and support that we saw yesterday. But man, I got to shake some of those guys' hands yesterday, and excited to see a lot of those guys, and great attitudes and great mentalities as well. So looking forward to building on that. You
had me out to New Roads a couple of years back to call a playoff game for you guys out at Catholic High Point Capee, and I said on the radio that night, I said when I got back on a platform to the public that Monday morning, that town, that experience on a Friday night cannot be recreated anywhere, which you guys had in New Roads. And what you leave behind there. I know that you meant so much to that community, so much to that program, and vice versa. What was the message in your way out of Catholic High Point Capee and to the great people that have affected you and your family? Man, I'm gonna tell you, that was 6 years of my life that we went in there and we poured our blood, sweat, and tears into it, and those kids gave us back twofold what we gave them. And, this community is just such a wonderful community, and everybody bought in and just went out and did everything they could to elevate this program and do the best by these kids. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. Yesterday was a roller coaster of emotions, man. Looking into the eyes of those kids that had worked so hard for us, having to tell them that I was taking off. But man, one of my seniors just now came in and knocked on my door. And just, came in and said, Coach, listen, man, I didn't have the opportunity through my tears yesterday to tell you what I really want to tell you, but couldn't be more happy and more proud of you, And so for those kids to be excited for me as well is something that's so neat, So
we'll miss this place, but it'll always have a piece of our heart. This was one of the greatest experiences of our lives.
That is cool, man. David Simoneaux on his way out there at Catholic High Point Capee to take over the reins at Catholic High School. Tell the LSU fans real quick what they're getting in Matthew Langlois, the safety that the Tigers signed in their class of 25 this season.
Physicality, work ethic. Kid is just full of quick twitch and loves going downhill and putting his helmet on somebody. The thing that separated him, he's broken almost every offensive record in our school's history and statted in almost every defensive category. But the thing that separates him is just how much he loves contact and, that ferocity on the football field. So, I think if Matthew keeps progressing and keeps getting a little size and height on him, he could be playing not only at LSU, but, even on to the next level. So real proud of him and his body of work, man. He's certainly earned everything that he's got.
Congratulations, Coach. It is cool to talk to you. Just fresh off of the news, which the entire city and the entire state is reacting to. You deserve this opportunity. Go make the best of it. We're behind you and supporting you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jordy. Y'all have a good one, man.
Yes, sir. There is head coach David Simoneaux checking in from Catholic High this morning as he was newly named the Catholic High head football coach after a 6-year run down in New Roads at Catholic High Point Capee. As he was, they got the right guy, man. That is a tough replacement to find after Gabe Fertitta. Fertitta's gone to 4 straight state championship games. No pressure, David Simoneaux, and taking over there. And what he has built and created is an absolute monster and machine right now in high school football in our state. I have had conversations with a head football coach at the college level who said without a doubt that Catholic High School has the most talented underclass roster. So freshman, sophomore, junior class, they have the most talented roster in the entire state right now. So Simoneaux is walking into an absolute gold mine of an opportunity to run a high school football program. When you just look at the football aspect of it, forget the alumni, the facility, the history, the tradition, everything that goes into Catholic High School. When you just look at the football component of the Bears right now, David Simoneaux is stepping into a tremendous opportunity that he deserves. If you had a chance to watch him at Catholic High Point Capee, cover that program down at Catholic High Point Capee, like I said, he brought us out there to a playoff game 2 years ago, and we pulled up at 5 o'clock, and they had been tailgating. The smells, the sounds, the sights, everything was fantastic. The town had emerged on this tiny little football field in the middle of a cornfield in New Roads, Louisiana, with warehouses and all types of commerce and industry around you, and you could feel the town and the pride that they had in a Friday night on Catholic High Point Capee's football field, and that was all kind of the culture that had been built and created by David Simoneaux. He will be missed in that community, but he will be going on to do great things at Catholic High School. So I can't wait to see what is next for the Bears and what's next for Simoneaux. I appreciate him stopping by for a couple of minutes. Frank Wilson's down in Lake Charles. We'll link up with Coach Wilson next here as we do that every Tuesday here on the Jordy Culotta Show, where daily we're brought to you by Red Stick Sports. Remember, Red Stick Sports is handling our merchandise store, and they can do that for you. If you're a business or a company that would like to start moving merchandise, that would like to start selling merchandise, one call to Red Stick Sports, to Cody Edwards, Brian Redmond, and that crew can take care of that. In fact, we just got in touch with Southern Marsh, and they have helped us in putting Southern Marsh apparel on our merchandise store that they are running over at Red Stick Sports. So, look, they've been around forever, since the early 80s, and they're the trusted names and brands that you go to where you're picking up your latest gear, your equipment to get on the football, the baseball, the basketball court. But they can also help you in team sales. They can also help you in corporate sales. It's much more than the old the mom and pop local sporting goods store, which they're fantastic at, and they still have that great feel to them. But they have expanded behind the scenes and can help you in so many ways. Find out today. Get in touch with Cody Edwards. Get in touch with Brian Redmond over at Red Stick Sports. on Essen Lane, where they've been since the early 80s. Frank Wilson next from McNeese when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate.
There we go.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show on this Tuesday edition, presented by Go Chevrolet. Good stuff from Hunt Palmer, good stuff from David Simoneaux. Every Tuesday we go down to Lake Charles and link up with the head football coach of the Cowboys down in McNeese, Frank Wilson. I thought about what you told us last Tuesday, Coach. I was keeping up with the game on Saturday, 25-20. You guys couldn't get over the top, but it seemed like, again, late in the second half, here come the Cowboys storming back, making this thing interesting. Looks like at the end you're going to have a chance to win it. And I thought about those days in the offseason that you were telling us you guys didn't have. You guys missed them.
Yeah.
And it seems like that comes through in a four-quarter game.
You know what, Jordy? You're exactly right. I was proud of our football team. Here's why. In the midst of it, coming off, taking one on the chin, challenged them and said, "Here's the reality. There's nobody coming for us. We'll have to find our way." All right, and so we've gone to this place. The oars have been cast off the boat, and we got to get back. We got to get back to land, and it won't be easy. And how do you do that? How do we find our way back to our rightful place that we've so proudly been for so many years? And there's no easy path to it. There's no easy way to it. It's hard work. And we'll have to pull up our pants and find a way to get there and pull up and tighten our bootstraps up really tight and let's go get this. And we played a very talented team who, as I mentioned last week, a year ago led the FCS in passing, average 40-plus points, and the job Frank Selfo and that team has done going into the semifinals last year against Montana. And so we knew it would be a tough battle, and we embraced it. We embraced it, and we look forward to playing a very quality team. I thought from the opening kickoff, we take it back 65 yards and go get points in the first quarter and score every quarter from that point on. I thought defensively, we played well enough at times to win the game. In the back end, they had a big bruising back, a transfer from Indiana that just kind of wore us down, and we didn't tackle well. And a part of that is to what you just mentioned early on, from a conditioning standpoint and ability to do so, to play all four quarters. And offensively, I thought we were spotty at times, but did enough to play keep away, did enough to get big plays at times and sustain drives at others. And with the game in the balance down by 5, we get the ball to the 3-yard line and arguably our best player's hands, and it comes loose. And so we finished second. But it was a game where we were least penalized than we've been all year long. It was a game where we had the least amount of MAs that we've had all year long. It was a game that we had where we grade effort first. We grade effort first, and then we go back and grade execution and technique. The least amount of loafs, that we played hard. Our team played extremely hard for 4 quarters, and had an opportunity to win the football game against a top 15 team in the country, and fell a little short, but not because of effort, not because of want. And so what it requires now, Jordy, for us is to continue to develop our team. And I continue to say to our staff, play them. Play all of them. It's good for our team. And it's, you want to play the guy who is the number one. He's the starter. Play all of them, man. Let's develop our football team. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. And that main thing for us is the development of our roster. Yeah. And we got to play these guys in this spring season so that we're better prepared for the fall. And so we'll do that. We'll do a better job of that. And then hopefully at the back end of it, we're able to play more people. And there's always risk, because on paper and by way of practice and playing, he may not be the number one, but he needs to be in there and he needs to contribute because he's a shareholder and he's earned the right in his practice and the things we've asked of him to be in position to do so. And I think when we do that, we continue to develop our team and we have greater chance to claim victory at the back end.
Yeah, can you go more into that? Because I know that your focus right now is Lamar, right? I mean, you're back in the city this week. You're back at Lake Charles, and everybody's coming down. They want to see McNeese fight. But the player development in which you're talking about, I think this is where you're probably one of the best in the business at, is you're talking about developing your roster as far as the football team is concerned, but you're also developing them as human beings, which in return will make them a better football player, right?
Correct. And so what happens is you're charged with a responsibility. You're trained to do a job, and then we call upon you to go out and execute that. Thus will be life. And here's what we say to our football players, that when you leave this program, your life will be better because of it, that you will understand how to do hard things, that at some point you'll become a husband, at some point you'll become a father, and you'll have to deliver. And your wife may say to you, honey, the baby needs milk. and it's midnight and the stores are closed. What do you do at that time? The store is closed and the baby needs milk. You find a way. And whether that's cream and water, whether that's going to the next township, whatever it takes, you go home with that milk for that baby. And so that's what men do. They're protectors and providers of women and child, and they find a way when there's no way. And so when we get in these game situations, I want us to be in stressful situations. I want them to understand how to overcome in adverse situations, how to respond when things aren't going their way. And I think we're better off when we do that to our football team right now, because it'll pay dividends, not just in next season, but in life as a whole.
So what is the what's the focus this week in getting your group ready for Lamar?
I think Lamar is similar to us in the sense, Jordy, that they're a first-year staff like us. I think they're searching for their identity. Their first win has been elusive, and so I think they have us circled as an opportunity for them to win. For us, we continue to develop our team. I think that we welcome an opponent into our venue that we didn't put our best foot forward, and I think our fans deserve our best foot forward. And so the ability to go out and play McNeese style of football, irrespective of the opponent, let's just go be us. Let's go be all that we can be. And I think if we do so, we can earn victory in this game and make our city proud of us.
Frank Wilson joining us here just like he does every Tuesday on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every week by Go Chevrolet. Coach, what has been this, now that you're kind of settled in going into to week 4 of the season, what has this spring football campaign been like as far as the management of your time, your resources, and being able to create and run your program like you've wanted to? I guess this is kind of your quasi first year. You've been on the job, but now you're coaching football finally.
Yeah. I had a great talk with our president on yesterday, and man, he's the reason why I came to McNeese. Daryl Bruckell, our university president, is a stud, and to listen to him put things in perspective and understanding of accomplishment of getting this off, that what was most important, that we didn't allow the gap to be widened, that we played in this fall season, and that we get an opportunity to host and give back to our community to play this season, understanding that it's probably been my toughest job ever as a coach to hold us together, to do my part in keeping our team, our football family together during the times that we've had to endure in this year, and to keep chopping wood, to stay to the course. And when you have that type of reinforcement and support, I think it's invigorating. It allows you to step a little faster, to keep your head a little higher, put your chin up, and continue to fight, because the support is there. And never doubted that, but it's good. It's good to be reconfirmed that we're on our way, keep doing what we're doing. We're right where we need to be, and we'll get there. We'll get where we want to be in due time. And so the message remains the same: to continue to progress our football team week by week, and we'd like to do that in this week as well.
At McNeese Football is where you find them on Twitter. Every Tuesday you can hear their head football coach right here on the Jordy Culotta Show, spreading the good word to the Pokes as they are back home in the city this week to take on Lamar. That game will be on Saturday from Lake Charles. Their head coach, Frank Wilson, getting them right. The Southland Conference is they are on call as they see what's happening down in Lake Charles. Thank you, Coach. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Go get them.
Hey, Jordy,
yes,
got
sir.
a question.
Yes, sir.
When can I get you in Lake Charles?
We're ready when you're ready. This week works.
Pack a bag.
This week works great.
This Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Let's go, Jordy Culotta!
That's my man. Coach, we'll be there. Tell Matt Bonnet to leave the names.
I'm
We're
looking
rolling
forward
in.
to seeing you. I can't wait to see you, my friend.
Yes, sir. We'll see you Saturday. Go Pokes.
Go Pokes, baby.
Go Pokes.
There he is. Frank Wilson
Let's
checking in
go.
from Lake Charles. Road trip?
Road trip.
Field trip? Why not?
Why not?
Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online, we'll see if we can't get a loaner from Lee Carney and Nick Richard
Pack a bag,
to
dude.
grow to throw him in, throw the crew into a Suburban and head down to Lake Charles to watch McNeese football. Remember, go Chevrolet, GEAUX. Chevrolet.com is where you can find them online. Stop in and see them in Laplace. If you're going to Laplace from Baton Rouge or heading to Baton Rouge from New Orleans, an easy and convenient stop right off the Laplace exit. Stop in and see Go Chevrolet, Lee Carney, Nick Richard, trusted names within the automotive industry and helping us and supporting us since day one right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Shout out to the crew. Shout out to McNeese Football, Frank Wilson, and the entire staff down there in Lake Charles, Louisiana, as looks like me and Lil Jay going to be taking a road trip this
Get
Saturday.
real familiar with them.
Absolutely. If the weather's like this, though, boys,
Yeah.
ladies, I mean, this is
It's a place to
football
be.
weather.
Spring
Football
football
weather.
weather.
Place to be.
Why not? All right, when we come back, we'll answer your questions. If you have a question, we've got the entire staff here. If you have questions for the interns, if you got a question for the for anybody on air, if you got a question for anybody behind the scenes, ask the JC Show, ask the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll answer them next right here on YouTube. 15 minutes from now, we will talk to Ross Dellenger here from Sports Illustrated. Dellenger will be by, talk about some of the storylines within college football in this offseason. We'll also talk about the Les Miles fallout both in Lawrence, Kansas and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What does that mean for F. King Alexander, who seems to be in CYA mode out in Corvallis, out west, does F. King. So get your questions in. Ask the JC Show. We'll answer them next here on the Jordy Culotta Show right here on YouTube. Market for a custom home? Get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders. And Rhett can do just about anything you need. RMB Builders LLC, but the website is fantastic. Check them out, rmb-builders.com.
Do you want to sponsor the Jordy Culotta Show? Contact us at katie@jordyculottashow.com. That's katie@jordyculottashow.com.
But they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders. And Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. All right, welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, if you have a question for the staff, if you have a question for the show, get into the bunker with the hashtag Ask the JC Show, Ask the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, support for the Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Manscaped. Who is better to push the message on manscaping than this Italian right here? Get in touch with Manscaped online at manscaped.com. Use the discount code to get 20% off plus free shipping with the discount code JC Show. Hashtag JC Show. Get in touch with Manscaped. Manscaped.com. You can trim your junk. You can trim all those areas that are hard to get to. You don't have to use the same trimmer. They send you the Manscaped toolbox, which is incredible. Lizzie's tried it out. I got one.
Oh, yeah, fresh.
Mikey's got one.
Birthday weekend fresh, dude.
20% off, free shipping with the code JC Show. Use it over at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com is where you can get all of your freshest tools from Manscaped. All right, any of the questions, jump inside of the bunker. Hashtag JC Show. Ask the JC Show. Good stuff from David Simoneaux, who's the head football coach now at Catholic High. Loved his comments on Matthew Langlois, who is the signee safety from the Hornets out in New Roads, as LSU obviously in the
Plays with
market
his
for
hair on
safety
fire,
play.
dude.
Yes, big,
My
strong,
goodness.
fast, man. I remember leaving there a couple of years ago when Langlois was a sophomore asking, who the hell is this kid?
There's 7 running around out there.
Good
God.
Lord, Simoneaux. This guy's going to be a player. He said, watch out, coach. He'll be big time. He said he'll be playing in the SEC, and I, very arrogantly, I don't know if he's that good, coach. I mean, what are you serious? This 1A football player? I mean, Langlois a stud, man. Right back in my faces. He is the one of the signees to the class of LSU, and at a position of need. When you think of safety in LSU, Sage Ryan and Matthew Langlois, 2 signees that'll have opportunities to come in and play pretty quick. So we appreciate Coach Langlois, Coach Simoneaux for stopping in and talking about Matthew Langlois and what's going on with the latest in his recruitment as he signed to LSU with this class of 2021. Any questions?
Yeah, we got
inside
one.
of the bunker. What we got?
Patrick Kimmery wants to know, hashtag Ask the JC Show, did Kansas just get exponentially better at football?
Yes, they absolutely did. I thought that this hiring was, you want to talk about some of the pushback that administrators get within college sports, within athletics, within the good old boy network. There is no better example than Jeff Long and Les Miles. This is just one of the examples that you could use for Long and Miles. I would even go back to the 2010 season at LSU, where Les Miles and the Tigers, the same season that Miles botched the clock versus Tennessee and Ole Miss in back-to-back years, he gets bailed out by a young, up-and-coming recruit that nobody saw except for our last guest, Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson had tabbed Tyrann Mathieu when he saw him for the first time as a sophomore at St. Augustine when he worked out at a Tennessee football camp. And Wilson, Ogeron, and that staff, Lane Kiffin, were the only ones, the first ones to offer Tyrann Mathieu. By the time Mathieu was gotten to his senior season at St. Aug, Wilson had joined the LSU staff. Wilson tells the story, I believe he told it here a couple of weeks ago. If not, we'll ask him to tell it next week, about when Tyrann Mathieu got to the LSU football camp, his first season that Wilson was there. It may have been Mathieu's junior year. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. are at that camp. Every time Beckham and Landry step up to the receiver line, Matthew wants to go against them. So Frank Wilson runs over and tells Les, you got to offer this kid. I mean, I know he doesn't look the part. He looks, he's 5'9", 160 pounds, soaking wet, but he's the best player at this camp, and it ain't even close. Miles back and forth, finally offers Matthew his senior season late in the process, gets Matthew in the class, and he turns into the Honey Badger, right? I mean, he turns into the most dominant defender in college football in the 2010 era, and he only played 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I never knew that story. That's a good one.
And in 2010, Matthew starts as a freshman. That class, Eric Reed, Tyrann Mathieu, that defensive back class. Spencer Ware was a part of that freshman class that was running the ball on that side. They still had bums at quarterback. T-Bob was a junior that season. That's the year they beat Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that.
They beat
Remember that.
Mahomes.
Beat the hell out of it. No, it wasn't Mahomes.
not
It was,
Mahomes, sorry.
it was Tannehill.
Oh, yeah.
It was Ryan Tannehill, the Titans quarterback.
Another NFL starter.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Matthew had a pick 6. Terrence Tolliver had the 2 long
it was
touchdowns. Yeah, A&M.
Yeah, I thought you said Texas Tech.
No,
But
A&M.
I was curious. So, Matthew has the diving interception.
The diving
Patrick Peterson's
interception.
like, bro, it's your squad now.
It was Patrick Peterson's last game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It was
Patrick
changing of
Peterson's
the
last
guard.
game as a Tiger. And Jeff Long and Arkansas get into the mix and say they want to hire Les Miles. And Joe Oliva bites the bait. See, that's the only reason why Oliva throughout this whole process. And I love the email that he put together where he tells F. King and the crew, we got calls. Get this guy out of here. This guy is a bum, both on the football field and he's trash off the field. Get him out of here. We got calls right now. And F. King and the lawyers all said, no, you're gonna have to pay the $15 million. But it was Joe Oliva 2 years before that bit the hook on Jeff Long and Les Miles playing LSU and the state of Louisiana, when after that season, Miles went to Oliva and said, Arkansas is actually courting me. They're calling me. They're calling me, telling me that they're going to offer me this. If I'm Oliva, take it, you bum. Go ahead. Sign the contract. What Oliva does is he reacts and he signs him to that godforsaken contract that LSU extended Les Miles after that season that gave him the ungodly buyout, the $15 million buyout. So Oliva can say all he wants about his relationship with Miles going back and forth. You're the one that extended him that extension. You're the one that offered him that contract when at the time, nobody in their right mind would have negotiated with Les Miles except his best friend from Michigan and Jeff Long that did him a favor in 2010 by getting him all the money from LSU. And then 2 years after LSU runs him, gives him a job at Kansas, when it comes to find out, they got Long under oath, under investigation, wondering, who else did you interview? Who are the other candidates for this job? And under oath, Long has the audacity and really the balls to say, I don't remember. What do you mean you don't remember? So you're saying that there was nobody else? I guess so. So you and your boy have just been playing everybody for the last decade, right? You tried to play LSU with the extension. Now you're playing Kansas by bringing this guy in. He wins 3 games in 2 years. They're lucky to win those 3 games. I mean, Jeff Long should be... I'd fire Jeff Long and Les Miles together. I mean, the fact that Long still has his job and will be given the opportunity to possibly find the replacement for Miles? Hell no. You lost that ability when you negotiated the last contract with this idiot that no doubt you talked to in the process and knew what the hell was happening with him in Baton Rouge. Nobody will ever convince me that Jeff Long, one of Les Miles' best friends, didn't know behind the scenes that Miles was dealing with all this BS that people are covering up in Baton Rouge for him. All the reports that you read last Friday, those are juicy. You see what was going on. There's still 3 pages of redacted comments that you can't even read. 3 whole pages of what they're still covering up for this guy. It's amazing. I'm like Sharon Lewis. I mean, Sharon Lewis in that report, I feel incredibly sorry for. And people around the program may say, what do you mean? Fine. But when you just read that report, when she's trying to say, what the hell are we doing protecting this guy? I mean, not only is he a pervert, he's a terrible coach.
Nothing
I mean, what are we doing? Why are we protecting this bum? It's unreal that Miles was able to get away with what he was able to get away with, and that Oliva, I get that Oliva wanted to fire him in 2013, but you're the one that extended him in 2010 when nobody else wanted him. Nobody else wanted Les Miles at that time. I mean, people can say all they want, but it would have been 2 interviews with anybody that was competent that would have said, hold up. This is the hat? This is Les Miles? He can't even complete a sentence. Why would we give this guy money? Yes, absolutely. Kansas got significantly better in football yesterday. They will become even more exponentially better if they get rid of the administrator that hired Miles. Jeff Long, I mean, that's a scam. He was scamming both Arkansas and Kansas for his friend. If you were doing that at your job, that is insubordination. You're fired. I just don't understand how these people get away with it. I mean, F. King Alexander, we should have done more. You think? You bum? Get out of here. Any more questions?
Cody Boudreaux wants to know what winter and spring football game we're most looking forward to this season.
Say it again?
Cody Boudreaux wants to know what winter and spring football game are you most looking forward to this season. McNeese versus Nicholls State will be a good one to attend, he says.
Yeah, you know what? I hadn't looked at the full schedule of the spring, but yeah, I mean we are absolutely McNeese football fans here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Go
So
Pokes,
anybody that the Cowboys are playing, we're in on. We're probably going to try to make this game at Lamar on Saturday, if we can do it. I mean, the weather right now,
dude,
you just gotta be outside.
It is unreal.
Is St. Patrick's Day canceled for sure in Baton Rouge?
I don't know.
Have they made that call yet?
Yeah.
Like they've made the call that it's done?
Right?
I mean, we're all just kind of nodded 80% right. Just print it. Yeah. Okay.
Our intern says yes.
Is that right? It's happening. Ugh, gosh, man.
I'm looking forward to the Bayou Classic.
Yeah,
It's going to be good.
yeah.
I'm glad
Where is Bayou Classic? Was it Natchitoches
It's
this
in
year?
Shreveport.
Shreveport.
Independence Stadium.
Shreveport.
Yep. Looking forward to that.
All right. Any more questions? Remember, get your questions inside of the bunker. Just drop the hashtag JC Show. Ask the JC Show. Ask the Jordy Culotta Show, and we will get you there. Somebody told me yesterday you've been waiting to tee off on Miles, hadn't you? yesterday I was out and I'm really not. You know, I really have not been waiting, because if you've listened to me over the last couple of years, I mean, I've said it all along. I tried to say it when he was here, but you know, you couldn't say it on a public platform about the LSU head football coach and really want to keep your job or your status or your access, right? I mean, like, that's kind of the game you play.
You have to keep the
in
relationship
media,
there.
in local media, right? I mean, you have to have a line. I didn't care what the line was then. I didn't know what the line was. I didn't understand that there was a line. I didn't understand the professionalism in holding this microphone every single day and keeping up those relationships. I was still at a point where I thought, well, they give me the microphone, I got to give them my opinion. No, you arrogant prick. No, you can't do that every single day. You got to play the game. You got to be a professional. You got to make sure that you're keeping things in line. But I've been going off on Les Miles since I've been in media, because I've always thought this guy just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense for him to not be as checked in as he is and be able to run a program like he thinks he does. I mean, his arrogance, his entitlement, everything that came with Miles was just icky. I just thought that he was, and then it didn't take long to be around the program. Again, let me say this. Nobody ever heard anything about assault. Nobody heard anything about harassment. But everybody heard that he was a hound. Everybody knew that he was chasing tail. Everybody knew that the newest media member that walked into the press conference that was a female was going to get stared up and down and was going to have her question answered first. And if it was a good one, he'd go back to her. Uncomfortable, awkward. I mean, it was blatant. It was obvious. Dude was a hound. And that the sell of the family man stuff was always the part that got me, was the fraudulent stuff. Any more questions?
Yeah, JJ Pickett wants to know, hashtag Ask the JC Show, best high school basketball team that you've seen this year?
Best high school basketball team I have seen this year. Scotlandville would be up there.
Yeah, they're always up there. Very good.
Scotlandville is up there. And, wow, we're so late for Dellenger. I'm sitting here just railing on Les Miles, and I don't even. Dellenger's like, bro, you calling? I'm calling, Delly. Put me up.
Hello,
Buddy,
hey.
we're live. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, I was going off on Les. And just during that time. I read your article on Friday, and it was fantastic. And it was talking about how we've laughed at Les long enough, but now the joke may be on us. It was kind of the ultimate write-up. And you can read all of Ross's work at sportsillustratedsi.com. He is one of the faces and pins of college football, one of the best that you'll find. You were as close to anybody around the LSU football program during this window of time. What have you made of what you've learned that came out in the report on Friday?
Well, I've obviously been fairly surprised at some things that emerged in the upper reaches of LSU's athletic administration, and how things were handled or mishandled. Obviously, we knew a week before about a lot of the less stuff, and it got even more significant when it was revealed that the allegations against him were so serious and so believable and so authentic that the athletic director recommended firing him. So that's obviously pretty serious. I asked myself and wrote about it in that column. How did we all kind of just be on campus and be around all these people and not know some of this was going on? And we've talked about before, Jordy, about the buzz around Les and girls settling. You kind of heard some stuff. I mean, I started in November 2013, so about 6 months after all this kind of happened with Les specifically, but there was still lingering kind of buzz about it, and there was nothing there that I could find, and now we know they kept it incredibly secret enough that the 3 board members who were in on it didn't even tell the other board members. I mean, I called a few other board members, and they were beside themselves that they were kept out of the loop with something so serious and heinous. It was just, as the less stuff goes, it was clearly somewhat of a cover up. And the other stuff, the upper reaches of LSU's athletic department, should be ashamed at some of the way they handle things, and that goes for Joe Oliva and obviously Verge Osbury and Miriam Seeger, 2 people that are now suspended. I mean, they were doing, some of them were doing what they were directed to do by Oliva, but the Title IX department needs to be separate from all of athletics, and you got to go through the Title IX coordinator, and that's not what happened at LSU, and now going forward, I'm sure it will.
Where do you think the LSU athletic department is presently? I know you saw what was happening yesterday at the football operations facility. Where do you think that the fallout ends from this? Do you think that it's over?
I think they're crazy if you think if there's change in their punishment. I don't, and I think the president of the university came out and said that yesterday. Nothing's changing. I don't expect anything to change unless USA is reporting, which probably isn't over, reveals other things. So I think for the most part, it is probably somewhat over as far as the consequences for actions. And I'm not saying what the decision that I'm not saying the decisions were wrong or right, but some of the things in that report, when it comes to upper level administration, if that happened in another school, you would end in firing. I mean, I think a lot of schools would have fired a lot of people, and sometimes that's not necessarily the right decision. Sometimes we do live in that quote cancel culture where, and a lot of ads have told me this. Oh, just fire them. That'll solve all the problems. Just fire them. That's not always the case. So I'm not saying that they need to fire anybody, but I know that a lot of other schools they would have.
Yeah. Ross Dellenger joining us here from Sports Illustrated. You can read his work on Twitter at Ross Dellenger, as he is on top of what's happening within college football. What do you think happens with Jeff Long? I think that Jeff Long is I think that he has some accountability on this subject.
Yeah, Jeff and Les are close. They go back to their Michigan days. When he was looking for a coach, it was pretty obvious he had one candidate only. It was Les. We broke that story for a reason. I mean, it was obvious from the start that was who he was hiring, and so you got to question the vetting process. The vetting process of Les, and Kansas says they vetted him and background checked and everything, and nothing popped up, which either shines a light on poor vetting or background checking, or tells you how secretive that LSU kept this with Les, which is disturbing. Really, really disturbing. So I don't know what Jeff's future is, but yeah, it's a little hairy up there. And I'll say this is not the first misstep. Obviously, the way Jeff Long handled the David Beatty stuff, the former coach at Kansas, taking him to court to try to avoid paying his buyout. And what ended up happening, they had to pay the whole buyout and lawyer fees from taking him to court. It was a public relations disaster.
I even go back to Les's extension at LSU in 2010 with him and Jeff Long. I mean, Long.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I think it was 2012. But
I'm sorry.
You have to go check. But I think. But you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. But absolutely, that was all because of Jeff.
Yeah, I mean,
he wanted to hire him, right?
I mean, Jeff was just kind of extended him a piece of leverage. At the time where I remember being in the public saying, "Let him take the contract. Let him go." Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just those two have been kind of scheming the system. It feels like for the better part of a decade. As Ross Dellenger checks in with us here on a Tuesday morning. What are some spring football lines? LSU gets on the practice field next week, which is crazy to think about as things feel like they're somewhat getting close back to normal. I mean, the SEC is talking about full capacity in the fall. I guess that means that spring football here is going to roll out without any hiccups over the next 3 weeks. What are some of the things that you're watching around spring football for the D1 schools?
I've been working on a story the last few days about normalcy in college football, and it's kind of two-part. It is kind of asking two questions: can we get back to normal this fall? And what impacts has COVID left permanently on college football and college sports? And it'll be coming out later this week on the anniversary of the sports stoppage because of COVID. And it's some interesting feedback I'm getting from people. And I wonder, you mentioned you asked specifically about spring practice, and I can tell you this: coaches are moving back spring practice this year. A lot of them are starting later than normal because you have to do with recruiting and just how tough and grinding this past season was. They gave their kids a lot of time off. So that's been interesting to learn about. It seems like spring practice is going to be pretty much fairly normal or close to normal as we've ever seen. And then you head into the fall again with more of my stories about this week. And I just think you're going to still see impacts of COVID for sure. You talk about the SEC wanting full stadiums. Well, I'm finding administrators who are wondering if fans want full stadiums. If fans will come out, if they'll sit cheek to cheek in a stadium, and if you need masks to do that, that's been a topic that's come out when I talk to a lot of people. one of the big lingering impacts of all this, though, is going to be recruiting, and the recruiting calendar is going to change forever. It's going to be there's going to be more virtual stuff. Coaches, and this speaks to your question about spring getting cranked up. I don't know exactly how it is at LSU, but a lot of places, a lot of coaches are still using Zoom for staff meetings and position meetings and team meetings. They like it. They enjoy it. The kids, it saves some time sometimes. That's going to be interesting to watch. The coaching world is always one that's a little bit archaic, behind the times a little bit. Just the kind of people that are in coaching, but they have the pandemic has forced them and required them to learn virtual learning, to understand it and communicate using it. And we're going to see that a lot moving forward. So a lot of different things kind of lingering. But to get to your original question, I think we are going to see a mostly normal spring practice. I don't know if it'll be full stadiums and spring games or anything, but you get the feel that we're getting back to normalcy. As you know, my wife covers the White House, and she said, I think she was telling me last night, we're the nation's like 1/4 of the way to having the first vaccine shot, and that's incredible. It's great news, and we're inching our way toward normalcy, or what will be normalcy.
How do things feel in a bigger city? You're in Washington, D.C. How do things feel around that area of the country?
Well, you know me, Jordy. I like to take part in some drinking and having some fun. I have not had an alcoholic beverage at a bar or restaurant after 10 o'clock.
Deli.
Since before Thanksgiving here in D.C.
I'm so
we
sorry.
We have what's called a last call curfew. Since Thanksgiving, we've had a last call curfew. No drinks on a table at after 10 o'clock. It's been brutal. It's
like
been
high
brutal
school all over again.
My God, sounds like a boarding school.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. Look, and I'm all for the preventative measures and protocols and such, but we've
but at some point, we've got to have a drink after 10, right?
That's
right. But it has been a little frustrating, and I'm guessing what the mayor is doing here is wanting to keep that extended through St. Patty's Day.
Okay.
And once after that, I'm hoping that we at least on the weekends get a midnight curfew, maybe. But our numbers are good and things are working. And I'm all for the protocols, but at some point, gosh, you're just itching. And it's not only for selfish reasons. These bars and restaurants here are closing left and right. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just destroying the bars and restaurants in here. So that's what's going on in DC now. It's getting warmer. We're going to crack 70 degrees today for the first time since probably early November, I would think, maybe October. So you're getting a little more buzz, a little more people out on the street in the city, which is nice to see.
It is crawfish and flip flop weather for sure down here in South Louisiana. We miss you on Spanish Town Road, positively. Was going to ask you about Dak Prescott. You're a Mississippi State grad. You covered him in the conference. He is rewarded with a $126 million contract. Huge kiss of $66 million signing bonus. Over 120 of that guaranteed. What did you make of the big contract for the former Bulldog?
I just want to know what national NFL sports radio is going to talk about now. I mean, It's been like 3-4 years running on Dak Prescott's contract, and it's just been such a big talking point for so many years. And finally he lands it. I don't know much. I haven't read too much, but I've seen where it's pretty obvious that Dak got the best of the Cowboys. He got the better end of the deal, holding out like he did, I guess. And it's great for him. And certainly Mississippi State people are very excited, and, they treat Dak like he still is on the Mississippi State football team, and they root for him and treat him in that way.
Deli, we appreciate the updates. We'll see you soon. Any planned trips to South Louisiana in the springtime?
Probably it'll be more like late May. I'll be down there in Baton Rouge for a quick stop at some point. I think that's at least the initial plan. Yep.
All right, buddy. Stay in touch. We appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.
All right, George.
All right, man. Ross Dellenger checking in this morning from Sports Illustrated. Check out his work at si.com. Sports Illustrated. Read it on Twitter at Ross Dellenger. Always appreciate his interaction. Daily, we're brought to you by AdvantaClean. Remember, AdvantaClean is online at advantaclean.com. Get in touch with our friend Bradley Lynch and the crew over there as they can help you out. If you get out of the bed this morning and you feel water in the carpet on the floor, you see water stains through the roof, you smell fire, you see smoke damage, you see mold. That's going to be a bad day, right? Yeah, that's not going to be good. As you see it, you feel that. Here's what I can get you. The contact information to AdvantaClean is online at advantaclean.com. So whether you're in Baton Rouge or the surrounding areas, AdvantaClean Baton Rouge can get over to you, Bradley Lynch and his crew. And once you make that call to Lynch and once you get in touch with AdvantaClean Baton Rouge, they are going to take all the headaches out for you. They're going to work directly with the insurance company. They're going to work directly with the contractors to make sure that the repairs are made. And you're not going to have to mess with it again. I know that it's going to be a bad situation where you're going to have to move some things around in the house or the office to get it repaired, but AdvantaClean is going to take the headaches out of all of that. Get in touch with Lynch and his crew at AdvantaClean, ADVANTA, clean.com. AdvantaClean Baton Rouge. They're located right in Industriaplex right here in Baton Rouge, as he has been Bradley has been over in Dallas helping out with what's going on down there. But you can get in touch with AdvantaClean in Industriaplex, 369-5228, 225 area code, 369-5228. Appreciate the interaction on today's show. David Simoneaux was fantastic from Catholic High Football. Ross Dellenger from Sports Illustrated. Always great to hear from Frank Wilson over at McNeese. Remember, the podcast is available and brought to you daily by RMB Builders. Get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois today, 921-7062, or online at rmb-builders.com. Hunt Palmer was fantastic in hour number 1, talking LSU basketball and baseball. Check out the podcast, brought to you by RMB Builders. You can hear all of it as today's show in full. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Check out the Gridiron Show as well. Check out their YouTube page and follow them on social media. For the entire crew, we're back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.